He just blames it on the relationship. And I don't think that he feels like this matters, that he's losing his job. But I know he has the con, and that he has no insurance policy on her too. And he just blames it all on her.
I appreciate you coming in. I know it's not easy. Especially once you get close to you, but
I know he has the con, and he has no life insurance policy on her too.
Good information that we need. So,
Cheyenne's interview gave detectives their first real motive pointing to John. But motive wasn't enough. They needed evidence.
They have a few leads, but they have no
Cheyenne's interview gave detectives their first real motive pointing to John. The detectives' frustration began to grow. John had covered himself so carefully that they couldn't even get a judge to approve a DNA warrant. As the investigation dragged on, nothing that could tie him directly to Katie's final moment. John had covered himself so carefully that they couldn't even get a judge to approve a DNA warrant. Without it, they had nothing that could tie him directly to Katie's final moment. Out of options and patience, they began planning something different. They began forming a new, risky, and very unconventional plan. John was smart, just 2 days, but so were they. They would set a trap for John and patience. They began planning something different. They began forming a new, risky, and very unconventional plan. Ready. And just while they waited, they would set a trap for John and try to make sense of what Katie's own 22-year-old Katie had spent the past year working up to the funeral, surrounded by animals she was saving while they waited. Katie's family mourned and tried to make sense of what happened. 22-year-old Katie had spent the past year working at PetSmart, surrounded by animals would make what was about to come. Only more easygoing and warm, quick to make friends. As the day of the funeral came, but detectives entered the funeral home earlier, would make what was about to come only more. They positioned hidden cameras around the room and secretly wired the funeral for sound. Detectives entered the funeral home early, working but in reality, before guests began to arrive. Every detail. They positioned hidden cameras around the room and other drinks where guests could easily reach for sound. The plan was simple: get John to drink from one of the cups, catch it on video, collect his DNA from the cup, and compare it to the DNA water and other drinks where guests could easily reach them. On October 30th, the plan was simple: the funeral, get John to drink from one of the cups, catch it on video, collect his DNA from the cup, and compare it to the DNA found on Katie's body. On October 30th, the day of the funeral, detectives set their plan into motion. But what their cameras are about to capture goes far beyond anything they expect. As John leaves the funeral home, detectives know their plan has worked. They quickly return to retrieve the cup he had drank from and the hidden camera they placed earlier. When they review the footage, John three critical things stand out. Detectives know their plan will become pivotal. They quickly return to retrieve the cup he had drank from and is exactly what they were hoping earlier. John drinks from one of the cups. Three critical things stand out, giving detectives the evidence they need to collect his DNA without a warrant and compare it to the samples found on Katie. What they were hoping for. The second detail: John drinks from one of the cups never leaves it behind. The footage captures John walking up to the casket, taking pictures of Katie's body while making unsettling comments. The second detail, and the third, they never expect unsettling of all, footage captures John walking up to the casket, standing beside pictures of Katie's unidentified young woman who quietly tells him to stop and taking pictures. Perhaps then most unsettling of all is that John isn't immediately drew attention. Standing beside detectives decided to unidentified young woman for DNA testing, tells him to stop digging into her identity. Then giggles. They discovered the woman, her behavior, 17-year-old Hannah Thompson, and detectives decided to collect her cup as well for John's new roommate. And when they began digging into her identity, they discovered the woman, given her connection to John and Katie and her strange behavior at the funeral. Detectives know Hannah isn't just another witness. They also learned that she had once been close friends with Katie. Entire case. Given her connection to John and Katie and her strange behavior at the funeral, detectives have interviewed Hannah isn't just another witness. And people from both both John and Katie's circle. They also collected crucial evidence and leads,
they were dead on.
Now believe that Hannah, the 17-year-old who lived with John, have
could be the key
to uncovering the truth about
people
Katie's
from both
murder.
John and
the
Katie's
next day,
circle.
on October 31st,
They also collected
crucial evidence
after
and
Katie's death,
and now believe that Hannah, the 17-year-old who lived with John, could be the key to uncovering the truth about Katie's murder. The next day, on October 31st, a week after Katie's death, detectives approach Hannah and bring her in for interrogation. If anyone knows what really happened,
I've always
it's
seen her
her.
as like a friend because I lived with her for a little bit.
Listen, Katie.
So is it fair to say
Like a few
you were
months
on
ago.
good terms with her?
What was your feelings
killed?
towards her?
I mean, I always I've always seen her as like a friend because I lived with her for a little bit.
Right.
So is it fair to say you were on good terms with her when she was killed? I know John, I think, went there Sunday, ended up going to her visitation Saturday.
You didn't
No, I
get to go with
didn't.
her.
I went with
So you
him.
didn't get
Yeah,
to say
I didn't
goodbye
go
to her?
Saturday because her family doesn't really like
John,
me.
I think, went there
Because
Sunday,
of
right?
her niece Cheyenne.
You didn't get to go.
Yeah,
get
we
to go
were
with her.
kind of like I went with him. Yeah, I didn't go Saturday. I think she might have said something about me. Her family doesn't really like me. Because of
So did you
her niece
go in the room
Yeah.
and pay your
yeah,
respects?
we were
Or
kind of like off and on friends. It was hard. I think she might have said
how
something
long did you
about
stay
me
in the
that
room?
family
The
doesn't
casket?
really like me.
Did you go in the room
10 minutes.
pay your
10
respects, or
minutes.
How did that
what
go?
y'all talk
It
about?
was
while you were in there?
hard. It was really hard. At all.
How long did you stay in the room
We just
with her
did
casket?
chat for like moments, I guess.
John never take his cell phone out and take a picture of her?
No,
What y'all talk about while you were in there? Sure.
we didn't talk
Or you
at
can tell
all.
me, just nothing. Some people do
We
that.
just did chat for moments, I guess.
Watch Hannah's
John
behavior
never take his
closely.
cell phone
As
out
the
and take a picture
questions
of
get
her?
more direct,
No.
her eyes start darting between the
Sure.
detectives. She
You can
fidgets
tell
with her
me.
hands, picks
Some
at her
people do
nails. Her whole demeanor shifts. It's clear she's getting nervous. Watch Hannah's behavior
detectives
closely.
can see it too.
As the questions
So
get
while
more
you're in that
direct,
room, you
her
two never
eyes start
talked at all?
darting between the detectives.
I kinda
She
rubbed
fidgets
his
with her
back a little
hands,
bit,
picks
I
at her
told him
nails.
that it
Her
was
whole
okay, but
demeanor
other than that, we
shifts.
didn't really
It's
talk.
clear she's getting
Was he
nervous.
crying?
And the detectives can
Were you
see it
crying?
too.
So while you were in that room, you
It's
two
just
never
hard,
talked at all?
like seeing somebody like that. I kind of rubbed
I
his
bet.
back a little bit, I told him that it was okay. But other than that,
Monday
we
night
didn't
at some
really
point
talk.
before you went out,
Was
you
he
guys
crying?
carried out a bag of trash. Did you cry? Or to his car, right?
It's just hard, like seeing somebody like that.
I bet.
So you don't
Monday
carry out
night at
trash
some
bag
point
and
before you
clean
went out,
anything
you
out?
guys carried out a bag of trash
Having
to the
to-
car. Or to his car,
Put stuff
right?
in the trash.
Yes, sir. I don't.
On Monday, the day Katie was killed,
So you
one of their
recall carrying out
roommates
a trash bag
reported
and
seeing
cleaning
John and
anything out?
Hannah carrying out several
Having
bags
to
of trash. At the
stuff in
time,
the
detectives didn't think much of it. On
felt
Monday,
like a small,
the day
irrelevant
Katie was
detail with
killed,
nothing to
one
back
of
it
their
up.
roommates
But
reported
now,
seeing
with all
John
this
and
new
Hannah
information
carrying
coming
out
together,
several bags
that
of
statement
trash.
suddenly
At the
stood
time,
out.
detectives
It was
didn't
another
think
piece of
much
the
of
puzzle,
it.
something they
Felt
could
like a
finally
small,
use to
irrelevant
put
detail
more
with
pressure
nothing
on
to back it
Hannah.
up.
But now,
just so
with
you
all this
understand,
new
we've been
information
working
coming
this
together,
case
that
steady
statement
since
suddenly
she's
stood
here.
out. It
So
was
a lot of
another
these
piece
things
of the
we know the
puzzle,
answers to.
something they could finally use
I
to
can tell
put
you
more
already,
pressure
Ryan.
on Hannah.
Okay. Just so you understand, you do not want to get wrapped up steady since she disappeared. I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of these things that we know the answers. We were there. I can tell you already, there was a camera in the room. Okay. There was a recorder in the room. You do not want to get wrapped up. We heard everything you guys said. I'm going to tell you a little something. So you want to go back home? We were there. Rehash that. Okay.
I don't.
There was a camera in the room.
It was
There was a
not
recorder in the room.
easy.
We heard everything you guys
to see
said.
it like that.
Is that why there was you want to go back and stuff? Rehash that?
I need to clean. I don't.
We've been doing this longer than you've been alive.
It was not
You're not
easy.
slicker than
See it
us.
like that.
You're not going to
Is that why
outsmart
there's giggling and
us.
stuff?
We've talked to people.
There's
This
not.
is a murder. We've been doing this longer than you've been alive.
What do you think
You're
about
not-
somebody
you're
that
not-
would stab
You're
her
not
on the
slicker
neck
than us.
to the point where the
You're not
knife
gonna
went all the way
outsmart
through
us.
the other side?
We've talked to people.
and then
This
stick
is
her body like a piece of
murder.
trash
You
in
understand
the
that?
basement of an abandoned house to sit there for What do you think about somebody that would stab a girl on the neck to the point where the knife went all the way through to the other side?
That's your
And
friend.
then stick her body like a piece of trash in the basement of an abandoned house to sit there for a day. Don't want to do what? Don't want to help somebody out he killed her?
All you gotta do is tell the truth. It will be so easy. That's your friend. Can I tell you something? To tell the truth.
Don't want to do what? Don't
to
want to help
try.
somebody
It
out he
just
killed her?
flows. All you gotta do is tell the truth. It will be so
Also aware of
easy.
what people have told us about you and Katie. They're telling us that you didn't
To
like
tell
her
the
one bit.
truth, you don't have to try. It just flows. It just comes out.
Me and John started. We're also aware of what people have told us about you and Katie.
And they're telling us that you didn't like her. If you know something and you're trying to cover up for it, you're gonna go down with the rest of it. You're gonna go down with the person who did this to her. Katie started not liking her. If you know something and you're trying to cover up for it, you're gonna go down with the rest
We
of
know
it.
more than you think.
You're gonna go down with the person who did this to her.
I don't know anything about her murder.
You do.
Even after being confronted with the footage and being caught in multiple lies, Hannah refused to give up on any additional details she may withhold. But while none of this gave detectives even after being confronted with the footage and being caught in multiple lies, Hannah refused to give up on any additional details she may withhold. Decide to bring him in again. None of this gave detectives the definitive proof they needed to push harder than before. Didn't know that to corner that uncertainty everything they was exactly what they were counting on. Be careful. So detectives decide to bring him in without enough to arrest him. It could tip him off, ready to push harder than before. They planned to corner him with everything they had, but they'd have to be careful. If they pushed too far without enough to arrest him, it could tip him off, causing him to disappear.
Right.
We hadn't really had a chance to sit down. I know I talked to you
I
that
went
day.
Sunday.
When we notified you about her death.
Yeah.
They said they were trying to think emotional and everything.
Yeah.
By herself. Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, I took
the
her.
viewing was Saturday, right?
Yeah. Right. 2 to 4 on Saturday. Yeah. Because I went Sunday. First of all, there's nobody there but me and her, so we're just kind of standing staring at like Katie's nasty, like dirty, disgusting body. Yeah. I've seen people dead. I've fucking dealt with this shit before. Because I mean, and now first of all, there's nobody there but me and her. You know what I mean? So we're just kind of standing
That night,
staring
somebody
at
says you and Hannah
Katie's
put some
nasty,
trash,
like dirty, disgusting body. I've seen people dead. I've fucking dealt with this shit before. Oh yeah. And now there's nobody else there. You know what I mean? The most
that
explosive
night,
shit.
somebody says you and Hannah
On the
put some
floor.
trash
And stunk up the whole house, like
the Prius.
throw like
Do you
4
remember
towels.
doing that?
Oh yeah.
This moment reveals
Marley
Hannah's
had,
lie.
like,
She
the
claimed
most
she couldn't
explosive
remember taking any trash
on
out,
the
yet
floor
John's
and
statement
stunk up
confirms
the whole house,
otherwise.
like,
It's a small
throw, like,
clue,
4
but
towels.
one that'll soon become part of a much bigger picture. Lie.
So you guys
She
got home
claimed
around
she
3
couldn't
roughly.
remember taking
Yeah,
any trash
yeah.
out,
And,
yet John's statement
personal
confirms
story.
otherwise. It's a
what
small
happened
clue,
after that?
but one that'll soon become part of a much bigger picture.
So you guys got home around 3 roughly. What's your
Yeah.
Brandon
He owed me
and
500
first
for
were
when
there.
he crashed my car.
what happened after that?
That doesn't I met my friend Scott.
He was in the Army?
To get some money. Yeah, he owes me. Yeah, we
You
got
all get
deployed.
deployed together?
What's he deployed? He
Did you go anywhere before that?
500 when he
This
crashed
is
my
where
car.
John makes his first mistake, mentioning a name detectives have never heard before. Charles Scott, his friend from the military, someone who would later prove to know far more about the night John died than anyone realized. Mentioning a name detectives have never heard before. Charles Scott, his friend from the military, someone who'd later prove to know far more about the night Katie died than anyone realized.
I don't know how much you know about cell phones. Is there anything, going back to last Monday, is there anything as you go around that your cell phone records would
Picking
say
up
otherwise?
towers. I don't believe
For
so.
signals. What if I told you that your cell phone, so with that said, somewhere, is there anything, going back to
Then
last
I'd also
Monday, is
say
there anything
that
that you've told me
her
that
cell phone
your cell
being
phone
in West
records
Virginia.
would say otherwise?
Yeah,
That ended
so.
up being a, what if I told you that your cell phone didn't ping somewhere other than
I
where
don't
you
know.
say you were?
Then I'd also say that her cell phone being
What
in West
if
Virginia.
I told you that, that ended up being Scott's phone AT&T in the same site that yours did, plugged in the wrong phone, not around
Yeah,
Zaxby's.
I don't know. When?
Monday night.
Scott Friedman moving on.
What if I told you
Gonna ask
that
him.
Charles Scott's
So
phone
the night-
pinged in the same this Monday night that we were talking about around, not around Zaxby's,
When?
6:15 Monday night, sometime around that time frame.
Scott Friedman moving on.
Can you think of any reason your phone would show that you were in that area?
So the night-
White Horse Road, this Monday night that we were talking about around, is there any reason you and Charles were talking a lot that evening, sometime around that time frame?
Because that's the night.
Can you think of any reason your phone
Here,
would
that's the
show
night he
that
was
you
available.
were in that area of Augusta Road, White Horse Road?
No.
But his question is, is there any reason you and Charles were talking a lot that evening? Katie had that kind of life
Because
insurance.
that's the night that he was here. That's the night he was available. Same as my daughter.
I'm not looking to defend you. Take polygraphs. Those questions will do that with you to him and you and start looking at
I have to talk to my lawyer about
Did
that.
Katie have any kind of life insurance
See what he
policy?
says. Because I don't know the military yet. She's automatically.
As the interview ends, detectives have their first real connection between John and Charles. Both of their phones show activity near the area where Katie's body was found. It isn't enough to make an arrest, but it's enough to keep digging. Detectives have their first real connection tied to
John
the
and
night of the
Charles.
murder, both
John
of their
can
phones
sense it.
show activity near the
Detectives
area where
are
Katie's
closing
body
in.
was found. It isn't enough to make
At
an
this
arrest,
point,
the main
but it's
circle
enough
of
to keep
suspects
digging.
included
And
Wayne, with a
John,
new name now
Hannah,
tied to the
and
night
now
of the
more
murder,
recently,
John Consensus,
Charles.
Scott,
Detectives
John's
are
friend from
closing
the
in.
army. But as detectives slowly
At this
pressed
point,
forward, the main circle
John
of suspects